English Parliamentary Debate Competition. To inaugurate this program, we have today among ourselves as the chief guest Dr. A.K. Azad Chaudhry, Vice Chancellor, Dhaka University. We now welcome the Honorable Chief Guest with the presentation of a beautiful flower bouquet. I would now request the Honorable Chief Guest to come up on the dais and inaugurate the 4th National Television English Parliamentary Debate Competition. Also, the Honorable Chief Guest will get acquainted with the adjudicators, the speaker, and the participants of today's session. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Chief Guest.
It's a proud privilege on my part to be here amongst you to inaugurate the 4th National Television Competition on Debate. And the theme of the debate is Debate for Democracy and Debate for Excellence. I congratulate the young parliamentarians of the government treasury bench and on the opposition bench. And my thanks are due to the Honorable Speaker to give me the chance to be here and to speak the Parliament. Democracy, the very term democracy, is a very complicated phenomenon. Social science is struggling hard to find out the meaning of it. And it undergoes radical changes over the ages. For 200 to 300 years, democracy has witnessed different sorts of value systems. Unfortunately, in the developing world, democracy hasn't taken a root. There are several reasons for it. One of the fundamental reasons is that our young boys and girls, when the seeds of democracy should be sown, has never had the experience of it. I congratulate the television authority and the organizer of this debate in the parliamentary style by which the spirit of democracy will be instilled in the mind of the young boys and girls, which will bloom in their later life. And a culture, democratic culture, will be created in our country, or rather nourished and cherished and strengthened in our country, and that will help us achieve the target of giving a better life to the society and progressing in a material and spiritual sense. Democracy is like a soft flower. It needs to be nurtured and cared. No harsh treatment should be meted out to it from any side of the house. Tolerance, respect for each other's view, and giving in to the right cause irrespective of party affiliation and loyalty is the major spirit of democracy. Our boys and girls here will practice democratic tolerance and will inculcate the democratic values and norms. In democracy, there are a lot of scope for accommodation, lot of scope for showing regard and respect to other views, and come out to a consensus, or sometime if not consensus is arrived at, The violence or arrogance, there is no scope for it in democracy. There is hardly any scope for democratic practices to take parliament to the street. The people gives the verdict to the parliament members to practice democracy, air their views, uphold the right cause, and serve the purpose of the nation. That is what it should be. And that's what I believe this parliamentary form of debate will nourish and cherish and will give real form. Our boys and girls have got an innate intellectual capacity and capability which I believe is unparalleled in third world countries. What they need a little bit of caring, what they need a little bit of training, and given a bit of confidence in them, they can show forth not only to the nation, but to the region, and also to the world. I believe this is the beginning. I'm grateful to the Parliament and grateful to the Speaker, Honorable Speaker. I think this will teach us a lesson. A young mind can sometimes teach the old one. Learning is a two-way process. There is no junior and senior. Sometimes young men, young boys and girls can know in some respect better than what we do in the middle of age or in the fig end of life. I believe, given a chance, these bright boys and girls will create a precedent and will cultivate the democratic practices in their later life and will give so much to the society in near future. I'm indebted, I'm grateful to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to share my views. Thank you, young parliamentarians. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, the Prime Minister and the Opposition Leader. Thank you.
Dear viewers, we now begin our 4th National Television English Parliamentary Debate Competition. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have already seen our debating programs before, you know that this parliamentary debate is quite different than the traditional debating style we usually see. Here, we actually stage what goes on in a real parliament. So we have here a government party and an opposition party. The bill or the motion is placed in the House by the Prime Minister or the Leader of the House. The role of the opposition is always to place constructive arguments against the bill. That is, they will not allow the bill to pass through. Today's motion before the House is, all plastic products that create untreatable chemical waste should be banned. Bangladesh Rifle School and College is representing the government side, while St. Joseph High School and College is representing the opposition bench. The government side is being represented by Hiralal Roy, who is the Prime Minister and Leader of the House, while he will be assisted by Minhazuddin Ahmed, the Honorable Minister, Ministry of Environment, and Mirajul Haq, the Honorable Treasury Bench Member. The opposition bench is being represented by Sanjay Kumar Chaudhary, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, and he will be assisted by Biplab Kumar Datta, the Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, and Adnan Islam, the Honorable Member of Parliament. The Honorable Adjudicators of today's session are Professor A.F.M. Alamgir Khan, Principal, Kumudini Government College, Tangail; Dr. Mustafizur Rahman, Professor, Department of Accounting, Dhaka University; Dr. Najma Khan Majlish, Professor, Institute of Fine Art, Dhaka University; Mr. Musleh Alam Chaudhary, Controller of Examination, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University, and Dr. Sagarmoy Borua, Professor, Institute of Nutrition and Food Science, Dhaka University. The Honorable Speaker of the House is Dr. Syed Manzoorul Islam, Professor, Department of English, Dhaka University. Before the House starts proceedings, I have the privilege to inform you about the order and time allocation of each debater. Prime Minister, 4 minutes. Leader of the Opposition, 5 minutes. Minister of the House, 5 minutes. Deputy Leader of the Opposition, 5 minutes. Treasury Bench Member, 5 minutes. And the Member of Parliament, 5 minutes. All the members of the competing teams, the adjudicators, invited guests, and everyone here present today will comprise the members of the House. I would now request the Honorable Speaker to start today's proceedings.
Thank you very much. I thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dhaka University, Professor A.K. Azad Chaudhary, for his encouraging remarks. I'm sure these participants today will be encouraged and inspired to put their best efforts. I also thank him for agreeing to inaugurate this program today, and this is the first in the 4th National Television English Parliamentary Debate Competition. His presence here will be especially important because this will give the participants an impression that debate is heard and supported by the educationists of the highest institutions of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this debate, New Year's first debate, and I welcome particularly all the participants and the adjudicators. The participants have been introduced already, and so have been the adjudicators. I thank them for being with us all the last 3 years, and I'm sure the distinguished panel of adjudicators will give their best efforts to have the best possible debate we shall have this year. We expect to have an exciting year in front of us. There have been more teams participating this year, and the topics have been streamlined to provide debating interest. Today's topic has already been announced, and I'm very happy that this is a particularly pertinent topic to our realities, an environmental concern that we have raised today, and let's see what the young participants have to say, because Bangladesh, as a young and developing country, needs these guidelines, and who else can give them the best guidelines than these young minds? In a few years' time, they will occupy important positions in private, public, and government spheres, and whatever they do will have great repercussions on the country's policies, performances, and activities. And this is actually the reason why this debate has been introduced on the television, to provide our young people with working knowledge of democratic systems. And in any democratic system, the greatest of institutions is the parliament. And a functioning parliament, a properly functioning parliament, is supposed to be the lifeline of any democratic system. And unfortunately, for many reasons, developing countries have not come up with the best of performances in their parliamentary systems. But I'm encouraged by signs which you can easily pick up. The signs that are there for anyone to see. The young people, dynamic, active, innovative people coming forward to do their bit in the country's economy, politics, and all other fields. And I'm sure we might even see some of these debaters today as members of parliament in the future. And with this training they received today, they will be functioning with more efficiency for the better service to the country. Let me also remind the participants today, because it's the first time that this debate is taking place in this new year, about some rules and regulations. I'm sure they know about the rules already, but let me remind them nevertheless. First of all, the time factor. You must strictly maintain the time frame. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. You cannot have 6 minutes in place of 5 minutes, so please remember the time constraint. The second, of course, is point system, and you have points of order, points of information, and points of privilege. You are free to raise any points if you feel that you need to raise them. But be sure that when you raise a point of order or point of information, this is precisely relevant and pertinent. A witty remark often is more important than factual elaboration. And a good point raised can take the wind out of the sail of the opponent. So please remember these things when you raise, and please finish your points of order or information or whatever in 30 seconds time. Don't be dragging the whole thing beyond 30 seconds, otherwise you'll be penalized. Then somebody raised the question of heckling. Yes, heckling is allowed, but heckling should be gentle. You shouldn't be too rude or too crude in heckling. Your intention is not to floor your opponent in an unseemly way, but to gently nudge him out of his balance, so to say. The debate is divided into two rounds. One is constructive and there is rebuttal round. All arguments are given in the constructive round. The rebuttal round, you cannot introduce any new arguments. If you introduce any new argument in the rebuttal round, that will go against you. What you can do, of course, is explicate, explain, add further information, whatever you feel will strengthen your last arguments, but you cannot raise any new points. The language of the debate should be parliamentary, and I need not elaborate what is parliamentary language. It should be very civilized, so to say. You shouldn't attack your opponents personally, no hitting below the belt. Everything has to be gentlemanly, in the spirit of cooperation and tolerance, which are the hallmarks of any democratic system. All right. I now start the proceedings of the House and request the Honorable Prime Minister to place the bill in the Parliament. Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. Today, we have gathered in this August Parliament to focus on a very important bill, which is deeply related to our health and environment. Now I request you to permit me to submit the bill.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The bill is all plastic products that create untreatable chemical waste should be banned. Mr. Speaker, at first I would like to explain some aspects of the bill. The bill refers to all plastic products. Plastic products made of some chemical like ethylene and resin are plastic products. These plastic products contain some short of poisonous chemicals that are not treatable and causes health hazards. Some plastic wastes like polythene, plastic products and bottles, cans, etc. are abundant here and there that are not treatable and causes health hazards. Mr. Speaker, we do not want to ban all kinds of plastic goods. We want to ban those plastic goods that causes health hazards. Mr. Speaker, we do agree that plastic is in great demand for packaging because it is cheap and convenient. Every day we use various kinds of plastic goods, but when plastic is discarded as trash, the trouble starts. The reason is that when plastic products are buried, they take up space and do not decompose. So they remain in the earth unchanged in form. If on the other hand, plastic is incinerated, it burns at a white heat and gives up some toxic gases such as hydrogen gas in the atmosphere. It's polluting the atmosphere and it is also injurious to health. And that is why we have proposed all plastic products that produce untreatable chemical waste to be banned. Mr. Speaker, according to sources given by the Association of Bangladesh Plastic Goods Manufacturing Industry, that there are more than 2,000 plastic industry in the country. Of them, 200 are in capital cities that produce only polythene bags. The melting point of polythene is 120 degrees, 130 degrees Celsius. It emits carbon, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide when it is burnt or melted. Carbon monoxide is a very poisonous gas. As it is a hydrocarbon, it can create hydrogen cyanide when it is burnt or melted. Mr. Speaker, if we inhale a very little of this gas with the air, it may cause tragic death. Mr. Speaker, hydrogen cyanide destroys the immunity of the body and causes serious skin diseases. The Daily Ittifaq 11 September 1999 shows that people who work in a plastic industry in Indonesia are suffering various kinds of skin diseases. The same issue also shows that plastic wastes contain some short of poisonous chemical called toluene diisocyanate, which causes bronchial asthma, chronic bronchitis, and emphysema. Such as plastic wastes spread the germs of diarrhea and dysentery also, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Daily Journal of 16th October 1998 shows that many specialists think a plastic waste like polythene is directly harmful for health because it causes skin diseases and even cancer. According to a survey, it is observed that if we take bread which is kept wrapping with a polythene regularly, it causes skin diseases. And if this habit continues, it may cause cancer. So, Mr. Speaker, these kinds of untreatable chemical waste that leads to serious health hazards should be banned. Mr. Speaker, the Weekend Independent of 30th October 1998 shows that since the commercial production of polythene began here in 1983, and since then our country's economy has been suffered a great deal. Between 1983 to 1986, in the capital city and outside the capital, 200 small cotton industries were closed down, producing paper bags or cane and bamboo baskets. A major industry group was also severely affected as the rapid influx of polythene, resulting in a market decline and demand for jute grew. During the year of 1983 and 1986, in the capital city and outside the capital, 18 jute mills were closed down and 6,000 workers lost their jobs. Mr. Speaker, from the economic point of view, these kinds of harmful production of polythene should be banned. Mr. Speaker, I urge our honorable leaders of the opposition to realize the necessity of the bill and they seek their help and cooperation to pass the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. I now invite the Honorable Leader of the Opposition to construct the opposition stage. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Today, the bill raised by the Honorable Prime Minister before the House is all plastic products that create untreatable chemical waste should be banned. Now, let's see what's plastic products. Plastic is a molding compound from which many articles are made. This consists of basic synthetic materials and often called synthetic resins. Now, products made by plastic or products that use plastic are plastic products. And untreatable chemical waste means useless byproduct of an industrial element obtained by chemical process that cannot be recycled. Honorable Prime Minister, that cannot be recycled. Now, ban means to debar one from doing, using, or entering, or something being used, done, or entered. Honorable Prime Minister of the House and through the Honorable Mr. Speaker, I want you to know that all the plastic products that are told in this bill, you said in your speech that all plastic products that create health hazards should be banned. That you want to ban that, but in the bill it is told that all the plastic products that create untreatable chemical waste should be banned, not that create health hazards. Now I will discuss about the importance of plastic and why we cannot ban them. The Honorable Deputy Leader of the House will discuss about the impact that a plastic creates on our social and economical life, and the Honorable Member of the Opposition will discuss what else we can do than to ban plastic products. Now, most plastics are either thermostatic or thermoplastic. A thermostatic plastic cannot be dissolved, melted, or molded, whereas a thermoplastic can be shaped under heat into any form and reshaped up to 98% when needed. So, except some insulating materials, most of the commonly used plastic products are thermoplastic products. So, waste can be created by a material in 2 stages. Well, as I said earlier, that waste is useless byproduct of any industrial product. So, waste is created firstly while manufacturing a product, and secondly when it's disposed after use. So, in the case of the first stage, all common plastic products are thermoplastic products. So, they are made from same origin of salt, water, sulfur, lime, chlorine, etc., and of the same resin, having difference in the processing stage. So the waste created by them is more or less the same thing, the same untreatable chemical waste. So if you tell to ban all plastic products that create untreatable chemical waste, you are surely asking to ban all the commonly used plastic products that include coating material like paints, varnishes, etc., melamine, electronic ware, PVC made materials, plastic wood, constructional materials.
We are not selling all plastic products. We want to sell those plastic products that create waste. And I said earlier that when plastic product is discarded as trash, then it makes to untreatable chemical waste.
Honorable Mr. Speaker, I don't understand much this point.
My point.
What he is saying that he suggested in the bill all plastic products which create untreatable chemical waste.
I am telling about that.
And you are saying that all plastic products, irrespective of the plastic
I am
or
specifying that what are these plastic products.
Okay.
Honorable
But do
Speaker,
you agree with him that some plastic products do not create any untreatable
Some
products?
plastic products are not included.
So he's actually not denying yourself.
no, I want to say that he says that in our country there are lots of plastic products, and he said that the melamine and paints, but I don't think so.
That are not the...
He's giving a scientific definition. I think you should accept it. Sit down. Thank you. Go ahead.
Now, as the things I have said, these all plastic products are virtually all the plastic products you do know about, except those insulating materials. So this will be a disastrous decision to ban all these plastic products I have mentioned. Because just declaring ban is not all. You cannot announce the main element from which the more than 80% of our day-to-day accessories are made, banned without an preferable and acceptable alternative. It's very difficult to get such. Plastic is only thing having all of the 6 mostly required qualities all together to make it a unique one. It's a moldable, permanent, waterproof, non-conductor, hard, and extremely cheap. Getting other materials having all these qualities together is very, very hard, and as far as our knowledge is concerned, there is no in the world. So it is due to the vast use and singularity of plastic products that it cannot be banned. Banning of these plastic products will be a total failure that happened in 1994. A similar bill has been passed in the parliament, and for its unaccountability that the bill had to be announced delayed for years. If all plastic products that mentioned are declared banned, the people will have no other choice but to disobey the rules. It is the fact. We cannot stay even a day without these things. And if these are declared banned without appropriate alternatives, the people will have to break the rules. As a matter of fact, the unruly import system will be encouraged. So the truth is, we cannot declare these plastic products banned. Yes, of course they create some health hazards, and that's why these are our headaches. But this headache doesn't cause more than the head. We cannot chop off our head for this headache. What we We should be prepared to get 1% disadvantage with 99% advantage. So here is the solution, not interdiction. I would like all the members of the parliament to help me and my party not to pass this bill in this parliament.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of the Opposition. Now the floor belongs to the Honorable Minister in charge of Environment to give the response.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. Today, in this August Parliament, our Honorable Prime Minister has tabled up a bill which is very much related to our health and environment. I thank our Honorable Prime Minister that he is very much conscious about public health and environmental pollution. He has clearly pointed out the bad impact of some plastic products and also has emphasized on the ban of these plastic products. We appreciate the sincere effort of our Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable Speaker, our Honorable Prime Minister has already mentioned that plastic goods do not decompose and remain in the earth unchanged in form. In recent years, this has become a major source of environmental and health hazards in Bangladesh. Studies show that it was polythene shopping bags that were responsible for the waterlogging and the slow recession of water during catastrophic floods in 1988 and in 1998. Plastic blocked up the storage and drainage system. Not only that, Mr. Speaker, every year during the monsoon, the city streets are flooded at the slightest rainfall because of the blockage of the plastic and water outlets by polythene bags. Thus, polythene causes serious threat to the city's drainage system. This is indeed a serious problem, as the stagnant water is perfect breeding ground for germs, which in turn leads to diseases and skin infections. The Daily Bhore coverage of 24 September 1998 shows that 60 large plastic bags are lying abandoned in the capital city Delhi. Thus, 18 crore per month, that is 290 crore per year. Only 20% of them are being recycled, and the recycling process done here can itself lead to serious health hazards. Mr. Speaker, International Rice Research Institute opines that plastic causes health hazards and affects soil quality and agriculture. This is the report of the Daily Journal of 16 October 1998. Environment Facing the 21st Century, a book on the environment, shows that it is not hygienic to work in a plastic factory. The same book also shows that the plastic goods in our country is not proper. It is due to poisonous gas created because of burning recycling polythene bags. 550 people, including 100 children and 300 women, were admitted to Dhaka Medical College and Mitford College Hospital. The number of the affected is now increasing to a great extent. Mr. Speaker, we want to ban on plastic products that produce untreatable chemical waste. At the outset, we want to ban the production of plastic bags. The people of the country are in favor of this directive. We have a survey report, Mr. Speaker. This survey has been conducted by Environmental Social Development Organization. It is a pleasure to inform you, Mr. Speaker, that 90% people of the capital city are against the production and use of plastic bags. Mr. Speaker, I would like to mention the remark of an American professor, Donella H. Mizzle. He said, recycling is better than disposal. Reuse is better than recycling. But reduction and prohibition is the best of all. That is why, Mr. Speaker, we want to ban the production of the plastic goods that pollute the environment and cause health hazards. So it is the high time, Mr. Speaker, that we realize the necessity of this bill. I urge our honorable leader of the opposition party to come forward and pass the bill for the greater benefit of the nation as well as people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. You haven't used all of your time. Thanks for that. Now the floor belongs to the Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition to present the opposition's case.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. Today the bill raised by Honorable Prime Minister is all plastic products that create untreatable chemical waste should be banned. This is the plastic era. Nowadays, it is impossible to live without plastic products. We use these products from our kitchen to industries, from our agriculture to playgrounds. In all fields of life, plastic products are not only necessary but essential. Most of our industries depend on plastic. Engineering industries, electric and electronics are influenced by plastic products. In our country, plastic products are essential for our economic development too, because we export garments, softwares, electronic wares, frozen fishes, etc., which require packing materials like polythene, which is airtight, waterproof, durable, and easily portable. We cannot think other thing but polythene for packaging. Agriculture is our main economic activity. Nowadays, our government encourages our people to produce more agricultural products. Irrigation in our agricultural fields to a great extent depends on shallow tubers where PVC pipe is used. People of Dhaka get vegetables supplied from Kaun Bazar, Sham Bazar, etc. as farmers supply the same from the rural areas in bulk, even in this dry winter due to huge production for shallow tubers of PVC pipe. PVC is also used in imitation leathers, floor covering, and corrugated roofing materials. Polystyrene is used to produce food and edible oil containers, cosmetic bottles, mineral water bottles, television cabinets, toys, and etc. Polythene is also used as liquid milk containers. Bakelite is used to produce electrical wire. Spectacles, frames, in most cases are an important product of plastic. And even the contact lens is also a product of plastic. Nowadays, we have to save our trees of our country to make ecological balance for human habitation. And plastic is rendering good services of trees. Plastic wood is used instead of timber for our doors, windows, furniture, etc. According to medical science, at present, for our safety, we use syringes of one-time use made of plastic. It is one of the protections of people against the serious disease of AIDS. Saline infusion bags are made of plastic. In pharmaceutical industries,
Speaker, he is talking about saline bags. But in our country, we marketed various kinds of medicine into glass bottles. So there's no problem.
saline bags are made of plastic. And I am talking about the saline bags, not the medicine.
What is the problem if we market this in glass bottles?
It is a great cost.
No, it is not a great cost.
It is a great cost, and many people of our country, as a poor country, many people of our country cannot buy this.
Excuse me, just a minute. That's not a point of information. That's your argument which the subsequent speaker will take up. Yes, but you cannot bargain like this. It's not an argument you can take. You cannot put arguments sideways. You just point to information. If you've done something wrong, I mean, if there's a mistake, you correct it. That's not a mistake as far as you're concerned, right? So thank you very much. You continue.
In pharmaceutical industries, plastic products like corks, bottles, droppers, etc. are used. Mr. Speaker, I want to give you a statistic of plastic industries in Bangladesh. At present, there are 2,372 plastic industries in Bangladesh that employing more than 3 lakh families and earns more than 1,000 million taka per annum. If there is any ban on it, the country will suffer most and it will be a great loss for us. Everybody wants a good life. Country wants agricultural and industrial development both. We have to solve our problems. Plastic products are not the problem, and nobody should create any problem of plastic products. Fire is essential for life. Sometimes fire creates harm to people, but it is not closed or stopped forever. If there is any problem of plastic products, that should be solved. In industrial development, one product is gained on another product. My honorable leader of the opposition has already discussed about the importance of plastic. I had discussed about the economical impact, and my honorable member of the opposition will discuss about the what else can we also do besides banning plastic products. People should be conscious in using plastic products for the betterment of their life, and the plastic industry and products should not be banned. That's all, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition. Now I give the floor to an honorable MP from the government, Mr. Mirajul Haq.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. This morning's session of Parliament is of great importance because our Honorable Prime Minister has tabled up an important bill. The bill is all plastic products that produce untreatable chemical waste to be banned. I thank our Honorable Prime Minister to present us such an important bill at the beginning of the 21st century, when everybody is ready to face the challenge of the new millennium.
You cannot raise it in the first minute.
Mr. Speaker, our honorable leaders of the opposition party may point out that if the polythene industries are closed down, it will lead to serious economic crisis and many people will be unemployed. But it is not absolutely true, Mr. Speaker. If we ban the production of plastic goods that cause environmental and health hazards, the related industries will not suffer because they produce various other plastic goods that are demanded in the country. But only in the name of earning foreign exchange or for creating employment opportunities, we can't allow this type of production. It certainly causes health hazards and pollutes the environment. Then, why should we ban the production of gaja or other intoxicants, Mr. Speaker? We have banned this because they cause health hazards. Mr. Speaker, as plastic wastes are not perishable and remain unchanged in the earth for years, the soil is severely affected. There is a close relationship between the soil and the atmosphere. With the help of the atmosphere, the plant nutrition of the soil is being implemented.